I turned it on and shut it off.
Welcome to the Town Board Workshop and Public Hearing, Thursday, November 1st. Please rise and salute the flag. Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Emergency exits are to my right, behind the town attorney's seat, and also the door you came in. Roll, please.
Councilwoman Samoji? Here. Councilman Morris?
Here.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Here.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Here.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Here. I make a motion to open the public hearing for overriding tax cap.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
No. Currently, the budget is probably somewhere between 3 and 4%, which in the tax cap is actually 2% this year. We had an increase in our ambulance of 4%. We have an increase in our workman's comp fees, medical insurance increase of 12%. And we also have to put money in our engineering line to plan for building a highway garage next year with the land that that's currently being transferred from the state. So since we're going to go over the 2% tax cap, we actually have to do introduce a local law to be able to do that. Is there any public comment? Make a motion to close the public hearing to override tax cap.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
Do you want to do the resolution now?
Resolution number 76.
A local law of the Town of Amenia, New York, to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2019 as established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. Be it enacted by the Town Board of the Town of Amenia as follows. Section 1, titled The Local Law, shall be known and cited as Town of Amenia Local Law Number X of the year 2018 to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2019 established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. Section 2, legislative intent. The Town Board acknowledges that it is vitally important to use the taxes of the Town of Amenia in a fiscally responsible manner and to minimize the tax levy in accordance with reasonably projected revenues, especially in economically hard times. The Town Board is reviewing the proposed budget for fiscal year 2019, taking into account the appropriation requests of various town department heads, the realistic costs of providing governmental services, while at the same time acknowledging reasonably projected revenues and the financial position of the town. In view of the foregoing, the Town Board has determined that the expenses in fiscal year 2019 budget are projected to increase while the revenues are projected not to increase sufficiently enough to pay for the increased expenses, which in turn will require a tax levy increase that is greater than that allowed by General Municipal Law, Section 3C. While the Town Board intends to cut expenses where possible, it also acknowledges that basic government services need to be provided and the infrastructure of the town must be maintained. The Town Board hereby determines that a tax levy increase in excess of General Municipal Law, Section 3C, limit of 2% of the rate of inflation is determined by the New York State Comptroller's Office, may be required because projected expenditures are in excess of the permitted tax limit increase, as determined by the New York State Comptroller's Office, pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 3C. Is the intent of this local law to override the limit on the amount of real property taxes that may be levied by the Town of Amenia, Dutchess County, New York, pursuant to General Municipal Law, Section 3C, Subdivision 5, and to allow the Town of Amenia, Dutchess County, New York to adopt a budget for town purposes and any improvement districts for fiscal year 2019 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the tax levy limit as defined and General Municipal Law, Section 3C. Section 3, Authority. The local law is adopted pursuant to Subdivision 5 of General Municipal Law, Section 3C, which expressly authorizes the town board to override the tax levy by the adoption of a local law approved by a vote of 60% of the town board. Section 4, Tax Levy Limit Override. The town board of the town of Amenia, County of Dutchess, is hereby authorized to adopt a budget for fiscal year 2019 that requires a real property tax levy in excess of the limit specified in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. Section 5, Severability. And if a court of competent jurisdiction finds any provisions of this law invalid, in whole or in part, the effect of such decision shall be limited to those provisions which are expressly stated in the decision to be invalid, and other provisions of the law shall continue to be separately and fully effective. B, if a court of competent jurisdiction finds the application of any provisions of this law to be to any building, other structure, or of tract of land to be invalid, in whole or in part, the effect of such decision shall be limited to the person, property, or situation involved in the controversy, and the application of such provision to any other person, property, or situation shall not be affected. C, the provisions of this local law are separable, and any provision, clause, sentence, subsection, word, or part thereof is held illegal, invalid, or unconstitutional, or inapplicable to any person or circumstance. Such illegality, invalidity, or unconstitutionality, or inapplicability shall not affect or impair any of the remaining provisions, clauses, sentences, subsections, words, or part of the local law, or their application to other persons or circumstances. It is hereby declared to be the legislative intent of the town board of the town of Amenia that this local law would have been adopted if such illegal, invalid, or unconstitutional provision, clause, sentence, subsection, word, or part had not been included therein, and if such person or circumstance to which local law or part thereof is held inapplicable has been specifically exempt therefrom. Section 6, Numbering for Codification, is the intention of the town of Amenia is hereby enacted that the provisions of this local law shall be included in the code of the town of Amenia, that the sections and subsections of this local law may be renumbered or relettered by the codifier to accomplish such intention. The codifier shall make no substantive changes to the local law. The word local law shall be changed to chapter, section, or other appropriate word as required for codification, and any such rearranging of the numbering and editing shall not affect the validity of this local law or the provisions of the code affected thereby. Section 7, Effective Date. The local law shall take effect upon the adoption and filing with the Secretary of State in accordance with the provisions of Section 27 of Municipal Home Rule.
And the local law, the resolution is, let's read the resolution. And that resolution will be identified as 76.
Adopting a local law of the town of Amenia, New York to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2019 established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. Whereas the resolution was duly adopted by the town board of the town of Amenia, introducing proposed local law number X of 2018, entitled Local Law number X of the year 2018 to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2019 established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. Whereas the public hearing was duly advertised in the Millerton News, the official newspaper of the town. Whereas the public hearing was held on November 1st, 2018, and all parties in attendance were permitted an opportunity to speak on behalf of or in opposition to said local law or any part thereof. Whereas the town board determined that the proposed local law was not subject to environmental review. Whereas the town board of the town of Amenia, after due deliberation, finds it is the best interest of the town to adopt such said local law. Now therefore be it resolved that the town of Amenia hereby adopts local law number X of 2018 entitled Local Law number X of the year 2018 to override the tax levy limit for fiscal year 2019 established in General Municipal Law, Section 3C. copy of which is attached here to and made a part of. And I make that motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Simoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes.
I think they missed the 18, should be 19 down here.
Okay.
It'll be of this year. I'm sending it in.
Yeah, but
it's-
it says
no, it-
entitled Local Law Number X of the year 2018, and the
It is,
actual name
It
of
should
it
be.
is just for the fiscal year 2019. Of the year
But it's the
2018?
Oh, that's the
local law, so I'm
year.
going to send it in.
Okay, for 18.
for
Yes.
18.
I
It's
see,
gonna
I see.
affect theirs.
Got it. For fiscal year 2019, that's
yes.
correct. Okay.
Okay, make a motion to open the public hearing for water laws and rates.
Second.
All in favor? Any opposed?
Pay no attention to that.
Is that you?
Pay no attention. It's Mike's fault. It's nobody I know, so it's,
Okay, you've all had a chance to look at the local law. Any comments? I'll go ahead and read the usage charges, payments, penalties, fees, turn off and turn on fees that will be added to the water rates effective January 1st, 2019. Single-family home, $50 for the first 12,000 gallons. Use $5 each additional 1,000 gallons. Multiple dwelling, 2 or more apartments in the same building, base rate $55 first 12,000 gallons. Use $5 each additional 1,000 gallons. Commercial business, base rate $60 first 12,000 gallons. Use $5 each additional 1,000 gallons. Payment penalties, 30 days beyond due date, 10% penalty compounding quarterly. Meter installation removal, $150. Turn off, turn on for damage, delinquency, troubleshooting, or emergency, $150. Service connection fee, 3/4 inch to 1 inch, $350. Additional fee to add outstanding fees, penalties, and interest to property tax bill, $25. Final meter reading, $100. Finding laterals at the request of the homeowner, $150. Testing alternate meter brands, $150. Request to test installed meter. If inaccurate, no charge. If accurate, $100. Inaccessible meter, $500 per quarter residential, $1,000 per quarter commercial multifamily. Tampering with public water supply, $500 plus associated cost of repairs. These would go into effect on January 1st, 2019. Is there any comment? Go ahead, Marco.
The service connection fee, 3/4 to 1 inch, what is that?
350?
Can you I don't know what that means.
Well, you're the one that gave us the rates.
That's not the wording I used on that one.
Well, what should it be?
That's for a permit. That's not to change a service line from 3/4 to 1 inch for $350. You'll lose money.
So what should that say?
Something like that should say 3/4 to 1 inch service line, review of plans and permit. Should be $350. Not the actual work.
Could you repeat that?
Sure. 3/4 inch to 1 inch
Wait a
service
minute.
line,
Okay, 3/4
review
inch.
of,
Wait a minute, inch to 1 inch what?
review of plans, inspection, and permit.
Inspection and permit.
Yes. Including, and that's all. Sorry, that's all.
Okay.
Okay?
I just have a question about request to test installed meter. If it's inaccurate, there's no charge. If it's accurate, it's $100. So Do you get a lot of requests for tests for the accuracy? I mean, it would seem like it would be in the interest of all of us to, if somebody suspects an inaccuracy, but they don't want to necessarily pay $100 if it's proved to be accurate.
So once I pull a meter, and if I have to test it, you have to pay me to test it, right? So there's an hourly rate to test that. If the meter fails, we can send it back to the vendor and get it replaced, no charge. If it doesn't fail, then either way, you still have to pay me an hourly rate. If it doesn't fail, and we have to spend time on the property, there's no charge for the meter. But if it, we just put it back in, there's no charge, just my time. It's what you're paying either way for my time, whether it fails or not. You're choosing to pay $100 if you're charging the customer $100 if it's inaccurate. I mean, sorry, if it's accurate. We get a lot of requests all the time of people stating that the water bill is not accurate.
Oh.
So they're stating
them?
that there's no way they can use that much water, there's no leak going on. We'll go out there and verify that the meter's running fine. And we'll test it, do our normal test that we do, and leave and report back to water billing either that we replace the meter if it was bad, or that everything is fine and continue monitoring.
And is $100 really what it costs us to have you out there?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, that's extra time that we have to go out there and verify. Now, if the meter's bad, then we go out there, we still pay for my time, but at least the meter will be covered under the repair of the, depending on the age of the meter, the repair of from the vendor that we bought the meters from.
It seems like it would be in the best interest. How do we handle it now? If somebody calls you and says, I don't think it's accurate, you come out there and charge the town, and we don't get any money to
Right,
help
at all.
defray that cost.
Correct.
And you find a lot of times they're not inaccurate.
I've never found one that's inaccurate. Either they're working or they're not working. If they're not working, it's usually the read won't even happen. So I've never found one that I've actually tested that is out of, spec.
So the owner of, I don't have one of these meters, but so the owner would know if it's simply not working at all, because it would be zero read.
Well, the owner would
something like
never know, because unless they get a letter from the billing department. The billing department will know, because when we do the meter reads, they'll see that there is no read. They'll send a letter to the homeowner.
Okay.
Those aren't a problem. You still pay for to replace those, but
Right.
it's the ones that get a high bill that
And
can't
they're worried
believe.
about it. Yeah,
and
they
it's-
don't know.
And it's really, turns out to be little Johnny was running the shower or didn't close the sink or something, or a toilet that was running, or.
So this encourages them to really make sure that they are,
Yeah,
in fact,
we have
using
to
what they're using.
really. I'm not the town's plumber to use at their leisure, and I get a lot of calls like that. I have a letter stating I have a continuous leak. Then you should call a plumber. You shouldn't call me.
I see.
Because you're not paying me to go out there and look in to see if their toilet's leaking.
I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Sorry, I
Yeah,
just don't
strictly for the
understand enough
meter.
about that. Okay.
Strictly for the meter,
Okay.
correct.
Does anyone else have any other questions? Marco? Okay, make a motion to close the public hearing for water laws and rates.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Any opposed?
I don't know what that is. Public comment, Sharon?
Sharon Kroger from Leedsville.
Excuse me, Sharon, I just want to clarify, you said water rates and the water law, because you opened up both in the same?
Yes.
Okay. Sorry, I just wanted to make sure I clarify that for, Scott's going to need that.
Go ahead.
Okay. Thanks, Sharon, sorry.
I came to make a civic comment tonight. For the past 25 years, I can honestly say that the public space, the common space in this town where political signs are usually posted, the precedent has been very good about tolerating each other's signs and not doing any damage. Unfortunately, this year, a change took place in the public part of Wassaic. I was disappointed to see that one of the large political party signs was defaced. And thus far, there has been no retaliation, as far as I know. I just want to say that I hope that we will keep a good civic fabric in this town and continue to respect each other's signs even when we totally disagree with them. And I'd like to see that we could get through our political period and the voting in a peaceful manner in spite of the differences. Thank you.
Thank you.
Second that, Sharon. I was also disappointed to hear about that. Clearly, signs that are put up on people's private property should be respected just like their private property. Without the ability to have that public discourse and that public space, I think we all suffer from that. And so I would encourage everybody to please be respectful regardless of your views. And that goes for online comments as well. I know we have a very active, vibrant Facebook group for the Wassaic community. And for the most part, the exchange is great. And hopefully we can keep it that way.
Is there any other public comment? Supervisors report. Wassaic Trail to the Train update. WSP is finalizing the highway permit. We're waiting for notification from the DOT, Local Projects Unit, to proceed with construction activities. Town of Amenia Highway Garage Land update. We expect the deed to be signed by the OGS Commissioner this week, followed by the Attorney General, with delivery in approximately 2 weeks. Amenia Town Hall upgrades, replacement window upgrades scheduled to start on November 7th, then ADA upgrades will be scheduled. Water laws, public hearing on November 1st for water laws and new rates effective 1/1/2019. Noise law update, introduction to local law and public hearing resolution for noise law will be presented on November 15, 2018, and a public hearing date will be set for December 6, 2018. Wassaic Park, the Greenway grant plan for Wassaic Park upgrade was submitted. 2019 budget. The last 4 years' budgets have been under the tax cap. However, due to a 4% increase in the ambulance contract from $322,000 to $335,000, a 12% increase in medical insurance, 7% increase in workers' compensation rates, and I'm adding $20,000 to engineering line to plan for a new highway garage next year and the land being transferred for the town of Amenia. Unfortunately, we have to override the 2% tax cap for 2019. Town clerk report.
Good evening. The local share will be remitted to Marge on Monday. It's only the first, but I have the totals. It's $562.25. At the end of last week, I circulated the minutes for October 18th, 22nd, 23rd, and 24th. Hard copies were also provided as part of the handouts. Has everybody had the opportunity to review those minutes? I don't know if anybody wants to.
I'll make a motion that we approve the October 18th, 2018 minutes as presented.
Second.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Abstain.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
22 is the next one.
Okay, I move that we approve October 22, 2018 minutes as presented.
I second it.
Michelle? Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
I have to abstain on this one, don't I? I called into this one.
You
but I
were-
was-
you
yeah,
called
so
in, you were-
Abstain.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Motion to accept October 23rd, 2018 minutes as presented.
Second.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
I'm sorry, I couldn't hear which one that was.
23,
23.
Yes.
It's a budget
the
meeting.
second budget meeting. Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Motion to accept October 24th, 2018 minutes as presented.
Second.
Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Abstain.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Abstain.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Prodi?
Yes.
Friendly reminder to all of our planning board and our zoning board of appeals members and alternates. Each year you're required to maintain 4 hours of service for education. The year is starting to wind down, and I do know we have a great course coming up here. Those that are unaware of how many credit hours that they still owe us, please feel free to see your respective secretaries, and they'll advise you to where you stand. As I'm reminding all of our planning and zoning board of members of their education, it's also the end of the year where we have some openings. We have openings on the workforce housing that are currently just open positions. Also for our boards, zoning board of appeals, we have a position that's expiring on 12/31, and Mr. Rosenberg has indicated to us that he is not seeking reappointment. And we also have the 2 alternate positions that were just appointed last month, whose terms will be expiring. Board of Assessment Review, Mr. Robert's term has expired. Ethics Committee, Ms. McEnroe will be expiring on 12/31. Recreation Commission, Chip Watt will be expiring on 12/31, and he's also indicated he's not seeking reappointment. And I've already announced plans. So at this time, I'm requesting from the board permission to go ahead and advertise for all of the open positions that we have. I'll also include CAC, the town historian, any of our rotating positions.
Enhancement.
Enhancement, yeah, they're on there.
Add water committee to that.
Add who? I'm
Water
sorry.
committee.
Water. So I'm seeking permission from the board to go ahead and start advertising for that now.
Are all of those people you've mentioned not renewing?
Chip has indicated
Right.
he's not. David
Rosenberg from the
has
planning board.
indicated he is not.
When their term ends
But
on
their
December
terms are all
31st.
expiring.
So, okay.
So
Yeah.
I've found
Right.
that some
To
of the,
be
you
more-
guys want to start interviewing, so
Yep.
if I
Alternates to the
advertise.
ZBA only, right? 2 alternates.
And then Dave Menninget's term is up.
Okay,
So I mean, we
Plus-
still have to
right.
advertise, and then you guys tell me from there who we're interviewing and who we're not, but I want to
Yep.
just
And add
advertise.
historian to that, I'm still hoping.
I want to do the full gamut. I'm just kind of hoping to do it twice, just in case I miss
Well, you're
someone.
doing a press release, right?
Good.
So if I'm going to do a press release, we'll start with the press release. Then I don't need permission because I'm not spending any money. So we'll start with press release.
Yeah, do press release, website, Channel 22.
And anyone that's
Bulletin
watching
board.
that is looking to volunteer, I know I say this every year, but anybody that's ever interested in becoming part of the town and being part of our local government where it all happens, this is a great time and a great chance for you to get involved. So you heard we have workforce housing, zoning, ZBA, assessment review, enhancement, ethics, recreation, planning board, it's all there. So if there's any of these areas that interest you, please send in your letter of intent and/or resume, and I'll get them right to the town board members. Earlier this evening, I received from the supervisor preliminary budget number 2. All of them have been circulated to each of you. I had highway superintendent here today. We had advertised for highway truck bids. Unfortunately, no bids were received, so there's no action to report. Also that were due yesterday at noon was the property bids for the sale of the property, and none were received by my office. So as we continue to move with those, and with no further action, it's time for our local announcements. November 4th, we're going to have our BFW breakfast. Sunday, November 4th, 7:30 to 11 a.m. Election Day dinner and bake sale will be held on Tuesday, November 6th at the Wassaic Firehouse. We'll be celebrating Veterans Day on Sunday, November 11th at 11 a.m. at Fountain Square. Wassaic Fire Company will be hosting their second annual bingo where you can play and win a turkey Friday, November 16th at the Wassaic Firehouse. And our monthly pancake breakfast at the Amenia Firehouse will be held on 11/18. So a lot of activities for the month of November in the town of Amenia. Hope to see you there. And that'll conclude my report for this evening.
Building Department report. Let's find October's monthly report for the Building Department. We have issued 16 new building permits totaling $6,261. Continuing with certificate of occupancy searches, and for this month we did 10 searches, total $1,325, along with one fire inspection of $50 and a fireworks permit of $75, and 7 renewals of $1,225, bringing the total for the month to be $8,936. Our grant writer has submitted a grant report. Wassaic Trail of the Train, New York State DOT, $480,000, $120,000 local match. Full drawdown of design reimbursement expenses. We've submitted the reimbursement request last month to DOT to keep the Transportation Enhancement Grant active. Wassaic Trail of the Train, New York State DOT, $250,000, matched by other grants. We're waiting for the contract. Wassaic Trail of the Train, Dutchess County, $100,000. Contract was extended. Wassaic Trail of the Train, New York State Dormitory Authority, $100,000. Matched by other grants, awaiting approved contract. Town Board resolution under consideration. Amenia Town Hall, CDBG, $93,000. Grant approved for improved handicap accessibility at Town Hall. Engineering firm hired, bid designs approved, work by contractor to begin November 7th. Joint ambulance study, Dutchess County, $190,000. Funding for an analysis of providing a joint ambulance service between Amenia, Dover, and Northeast. Public hearing held on October 24th. Towns to decide which options to pursue. Kitchen grant, Berkshire Taconic. Completed grant proposal and partial grant was awarded by Berkshire Taconic Community Foundation, researching additional grant sources for project. Pending grant applications, Hudson River Valley Greenway for $10,000, seeking funding for concept plan for Wassaic Park. Dutchess County Planning, CDBG, $150,000, seeking funds to improve downtown sidewalks and accessibility. Hazard mitigation grant, $80,000, seeking funds for a drainage improvement project on Deep Hollow Road. Grant was submitted, is under review, provided additional project details to state officials. Are there any other committee reports?
Oh, it's not a committee. Oh, well, we, Jim Morris and I, we went and we reviewed the Amenia District 1, Amenia Water District 1 on Monday. And we got to view the main plant on Washington Court and the second pump house on Laval. And then Marco toured us through the area that is Water District number 1, showing us where the feeds go to the different houses and things like that. And we saw the automation, I guess it's called, with computers and stuff that do the water pressure and all of those things. And he also let us know that the Amenia water comes back excellent each time that he takes it there. And we saw the water tower, and of course everyone knows the water tower was put there in 1980s, and we've discussed it so many times that we know that that's going to be a major project for this town. But it's still functioning, it's still going well. the pumps and things are still supplying the necessary amount of water to the town and the areas. So it's something we need to keep in our mind about it. I found it very enlightening because I'm a transplant, and so learning where the water is and where the water comes from is very interesting to me. Also, I learned that the water district started in the 1800s, which is extraordinary, and also learned that many of the distribution pipes and stuff that are going through this area are old and need to be replaced sooner or later, and so we have to work on that. And I want to especially thank Marco for taking his time to take Jim and I around. And I also want to thank him and the lady that was just here. I think her name is Mary.
May.
I'm sorry, May. For the diligent work that they've been doing for the town of Amenia and the water district. I mean, that's a lot of dedication to know where all the pipes run and all the cutoff valves are and all of these things. They deserve a lot of credit for the time and energy they put into this, to do this for the town of Amenia. So that's just basically what I had to say about that. I don't know if Jim had anything to say.
No, said it all.
Said it all. Jim was happy.
Are there any other committee reports?
The CAC met, and we had a good meeting. We are working on the mission statement for the Climate Smart Community, and our new chair, Michael Peak, has provided us with some links to some planning documents that will help us historically look back and see what was important to the town of Amenia and consult these things. We're also looking at the natural resource inventory and seeing where we're still lacking and where we need to fill in the gaps. That's about it.
Okay. Adopt and set date for public hearing for preliminary budget. Resolution.
77.
Adoption of preliminary budget for fiscal year 2019, establishing a public hearing date. Whereas the town supervisor has filed a tentative 2019 budget for the town of Amenia pursuant to Section 106 of the town law. Whereas the town clerk delivered the tentative budget to the town board in accordance with town law Section 106. Whereas town law Section 108 requires the town to hold a public hearing on a preliminary budget on or before the Thursday immediately following the general election and to adopt a final budget by November 20th, 2018. Whereas the tentative budget has been considered, discussed, and reviewed, now therefore be it resolved that said tentative budget be and hereby is revised pursuant to the annexed schedule, and be it further resolved that so revised and modified that said tentative budget is hereby approved and shall become the preliminary budget of the town of Amenia commencing the fiscal year January 1st, 2019. Be it further resolved that the town board is heretofore established Thursday, November 8th, 2018 at 7 p.m. as a date and time for a special town board meeting and public hearing at Town Hall located at 4988 Route 22, Amenia, New York, for purposes of conducting a public hearing on the preliminary budget. Be it further resolved that the town clerk is hereby directed and authorized to post and publish a notice of the public hearing accordingly. Make that motion.
Second.
Councilwoman Samoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Purdy?
Yes. Is there any other public comment? Okay, other matters. We have authorization to sell surplus town highway department equipment, which our highway superintendent already told us about, would be 78.
Yes.
Authorization to sell surplus town highway department equipment. Whereas Highway Superintendent Megan Chamberlain advised the town board of her intent to sell surplus town highway department equipment and vehicles pursuant to New York State Highway Law, Section 142.5. Whereas Highway Superintendent Megan Chamberlain has proposed to sell one piece of equipment as a trade-in for the purchase of a new piece of equipment. Whereas Highway Superintendent Megan Chamberlain has proposed to sell additional equipment at auction and has proposed a contract with Auction International, Incorporated international online auction service with substantial experience selling surplus municipal vehicles and equipment, and which does not charge a seller's commission. And although no reserve is set, the town as seller has a right to reject all bids. Whereas there are 3 trucks that the highway superintendent has identified to sell as surplus equipment as follows. 1, 2011 Ford F-350 pickup truck with a 9-foot Fisher plow. 2, 1989 International model 2674 series 10-wheel dump truck with a dump body. 3, 2000 International model 2574 series 6-wheel dump truck with combination dump sander body and 11-foot plow. Now therefore be it resolved that Highway Superintendent Megan Chamberlain is authorized to sell the surplus town highway department equipment in accordance with Highway Law number 142.5, and be it further resolved that the highway superintendent is authorized to offer the truck identified as number 1 herein, 2011 Ford F-350 pickup truck as a trade-in on the purchase of a new pickup truck. Be it further resolved that the highway superintendent is authorized to sell the international dump truck identified as number 2, number 3 herein through Auctions International, 11167 Big Tree Road, East Aurora, New York, 14502, and to execute the online auction contract agreement for sale of government assets with Auction International in substantially the same form as annexed hereto. And be it further resolved that the highway superintendent and town supervisor are hereby authorized to execute any and all documents, including Department of Motor Vehicle forms and bills of sale necessary to transfer the above vehicles to the successful bidder. Is there a motion?
I motion that we accept authorization to sell the surplus town highway department equipment.
There's a second?
A second.
Discussion. Has anyone seen the contract from Auctions International?
Scott has.
Scott has?
Yeah,
Okay.
he's done extensive.
Work with them?
Yeah, he's dealt with them extensively with other towns.
Okay, but it will be annexed here too,
Right.
once we, okay.
Yeah, he'll approve the contract before I sign it.
Okay.
Okay. Councilwoman Smochi?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. The only other thing I have in other matters was the update to the employee handbook. I did receive the new sexual harassment policy at a cost of $350 from Jeff Travers, who did our employee manual several years ago and then did an update in 2013. And for $850, I need approval from you if you choose to complete the comprehensive update, since there are laws that have changes to bring our employee manual up to date.
I don't remember what things have come up since 2013. Is there a sample, or these are laws that we've changed and passed and they have to bring this up to date?
No, we haven't done anything. This is just federal laws.
Federal laws that were out of compliance because of things that have been passed and...
Well, I can send him an email and tell him what specifically has to be done.
Well, I think that part of what he's proposing is to do the review.
Oh.
I'm supportive of it. It's been 5 years. It's not a bad practice to review our policies on some regular basis. It's not a tremendous amount of money. I would support this. Since we're going to have him in there anyway, changing the sexual harassment policy for adoption into the handbook.
You
Well, he-
have previously contacted me about certain revisions since then, so it seems that it may be timely to get the document updated now. I mean,
Well,
he is
I-
referring to some specific things that we wanted to revise.
No, I just asked him questions.
Oh,
And because when we were like changing the work week from 40 hours to something else, and, I just asked him for his opinion on things.
Since my time on the board for the last 3 years, we've had to visit that policy 2 or 3 times when it related to some either employee issue or some legal matter or something.
Yes.
I think it's worth ensuring that we're up to date with federal standards and then have the opportunity to highlight the 2 or 3 times we've had to go reference it in particular scenarios where it's may or may not been advantageous for the town.
I'll make a motion that we authorize the update as recommended for $850 of our employee handbook.
Second.
Wait a minute, wouldn't it be $1,200?
We've already done the 350
Oh, okay.
because that was a
We had-
mandated
That was-
change by the
Yeah,
state.
By the state.
Okay, all right.
But before he sent us a copy of the policy so that, because we were required to have it and give it to all the employees, but before he added it to the actual employee handbook, he wanted to know if we wanted to do the additional review,
Okay.
so that all of them would be in there together.
Okay.
That was you, Damien? I'm sorry.
Yeah,
That-
I seconded.
Okay. Councilwoman Smoji?
Yes.
Councilman Morris?
Yes.
Councilman Gutierrez?
Yes.
Councilwoman Doyle?
Yes.
And Supervisor Perotti?
Yes. Any town board comments?
Where are we with the trail to the train?
I had that on my list to.
Yeah, it looks-
Actually, I emailed our project manager at WSP this week and copied you, Victoria. I heard nothing back. I'm a little frustrated with the, I'm sure he
Well,
communicates
that's
with
what
you.
what I put in the supervisor's report is where we are.
I understand, but there's not a lot of detail there, and that's not on you. But if I am curious to know where we are and I reach out to our contracted engineering firm, I'd like to at minimum get a response and get some more detail. Sorry, Vicki, I didn't want to.
No, that's,
Co-op
I
your-
just didn't know enough about why this is kind of stuck in highway permit.
It's
mode.
not stuck in highway permit, it was stuck in,
The review from the-
no, it was stuck in the right-of-way. But everything's, actually, because DOT had a question about boundary on Furnace Bank Road of town land and Wasaga Auction Barn. So I contacted Kurt Horton, who was the original surveyor, put him in touch with Dan Breyer and the DOT. So he subsequently gave them the information that they were looking for.
So we're only waiting for the highway permit.
And the approval from DOT
Okay,
to give us the okay to go to construction.
okay. But you have to
But the
first get
highway,
the permit.
the highway permit is mostly done. The only thing on the highway permit is, there was something about the light there down by the station. But Dan Breyer is working with Chuck Walter out at DOT, because he's the one. But that's in progress.
Okay.
So if you need any more, information, I can get it and I'll forward it to you. But just when you think you've got all the i's dotted and the t's crossed, DOT comes back with
something else.
something else, and you get, and then there's sections of DOT, there's the real estate section and the other section, and everybody has to agree.
I understand all that.
Shoot.
I'm at the point now where I want to see a lot of detail about any delays or any issues that come up, and I don't think it's unreasonable to request that from our project manager.
I'll get that for you.
So,
Well, where we are right now, I'll get that for you. You'll have it tomorrow.
Okay, thank you.
I would just like to mention two things, because I always, one more thing, right? Amenia Seniors, the Christmas party, start getting your reservations in. I already have about 20 people signed up already. We can take a lot of people, but only 54 on the bus. So please sign up. And again, if you're a senior and you can't manage yourself on the bus by yourself and you need someone to assist you, you can invite someone to come to assist you. Of course, they pay for their own ticket, just to be clear, but that way you can enjoy it and maybe enjoy it with your friend or your relative, okay? Also, I just have one other thing from the Dutchess County ASPCA and iHeartMedia. Donation drive, Saturday, November 10th, double dawn, from 10 o'clock to 3 o'clock at the South Amenia Presbyterian Church. Purina dog food, cat food, canned and dry, peanut butter bleach, and kitty litter. They're going full bore at the South Amenia Presbyterian Church on this thing with the animals, and they're setting up a space for the dog food, cat food, kitty litter stuff. So I think they'll be coming pretty quickly with letting us know times, dates, and things like that. So I think it's going to be a great thing for the community, because so many people have pets and many seniors, and it gets to be a little difficult for some people. And so they're doing a great job for us. That's all I got.
Any other town board comments?
It is Election Day on Tuesday. I would hope that everybody who can get out and vote. There is a proposition on this year's
Oh, yes.
ballot
Yes, so for the school, for the
for the library.
For the
So,
library.
without encouraging anyone to choose a side there, I'll just read it out for the audience here. The proposition that you'll find on the ballot this year is, shall the annual contribution of the town of Amenia for the operating budget of the Amenia Free Library be increased by $30,000 to the sum of $125,000 annually. So currently, the town contribution to the library budget is $95,000 a year. It's been that way for as long as I've been on the board.
Well, it's not the, it's the taxpayer the library actually went through all the paperwork to become a special district.
Right, they're their own taxing district, like the
Right.
fire companies.
Like the fire companies.
So just be aware that there is a second page there, and would benefit from your input.
5 years.
Is there any other town board comment? Okay, I would like to table the executive session for pending litigation to the next meeting.
We didn't introduce our stand-in attorney.
Ian Lindars, Stanger Roberts, Davis and Network.
Thank you for joining us, Ian.
Thank you.
Okay, Jim, it's Morris motion time.
I move that we adjourn.
I second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?